You know, if we do get a Nintendo Direct in September, I really hope they give us a new trailer for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I mean, I do want trailers for games like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta, Metroid Dread, and other Nintendo Switch games, but man, this game might as well be a Jet Set Radio sequel, and I'm all for that. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. And if you're interested, I have a Patreon, which link to that will be in the pinned comment along with my Twitter account. In this video, we are going to talk about the indie Nintendo Direct that was shown that included some pretty cool games. We're also going to be talking about how this indie Nintendo Direct may have gave us another clue for a possible Nintendo Direct in September. We will also be talking about the recently announced Pokemon Direct as well and what we could see there. So the indie Nintendo Direct was shown and showed some really cool Nintendo Switch games. This had to be one of the best indie Nintendo Direct showcases in my opinion that we've had for a while. They showed off a lot of cool indie games that I'll definitely be playing either today or later down the line. The first one that sparked my interest immediately was Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. This game immediately gives off Jet Set Radio vibes. For those who don't know, Jet Set Radio was a really cool sports game back in the early 2000s, I think, if I recall correctly. I remember playing it on the Dreamcast, and I've always wanted a new game, especially on the Nintendo Switch for that portability factor. Well, it seems like we're getting one. I really like this stylized type of gaming, and I really hope Team Reptile knocks it out of the park with this one because I'd love to see more games just like this on the Switch. The next game that I want to talk about is Loop Hero. Now, you guys have heard me say this time and time again in these videos, but I love RPGs. I love the Final Fantasy series, the Ni no Kuni series, Pokemon, The Legend of Dragoon, heck, I even played DC Universe Online once in a while. So when I saw Loop Hero, I got really excited. It seems to combine the replayability of games like Hades and Dead Cells, but attaches an RPG genre to it, which basically means endless RPG adventures that I can go on, which is really exciting for me personally. Next up is Axiom Verge 2. This is one of those games that looks heavily inspired by some of the older classic games of years past. I've never played Axiom Verge 1, but I will probably give Axiom Verge 2 a go. It looks pretty close to the roguelite games that we see on the platform like Hades and Dead Cells, so I'll probably like it. I've spent a lot of times in games like Hades, which I actually ended up reviewing that if I recall, so maybe if I enjoy Axiom Verge 2 enough, I'll review that as well. And next up is Metal Slug Tactics, which also looks pretty good. I've always been a fan of devs taking already established games and forming them into a different type of playstyle than the original game. Nintendo likes to do this a lot with their IPs as well, like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. The fact that they took Metal Slug and put the exact opposite of what you typically experience in a Metal Slug action-packed game is pretty interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see if this game turns out good or not, because usually when you think of Metal Slug, you don't think of tactic games like Final Fantasy Tactics. You usually think of running and shooting around with giant explosions everywhere. Now, there were some other cool games that piqued my interest, like Boyfriend Dungeon, which looks like a fun hack and slash game, or Curious Expedition, which looks cool as well. The last game they showed though is Eastward, which looks amazing. This is the first time I'm seeing this game, and it is a must-buy for me. The world looks alive and incredibly detailed, the art style is right up my alley, and I can already tell the story is probably going to be good as well. It actually reminds me a lot of the Joel and Ellie story that we got from the first game, though that's kind of just me going off of what I see on the first thing that I see from this game. Overall, it was a really good indie showcase, and I can't wait to play some of these games on my Nintendo Switch. I think that indie games really shine on the Nintendo Switch because of the portability aspect, and not only that, but I think it's just overall good that Nintendo is giving these devs a chance on this platform as well. Make sure you guys tell me which indie games you're going to play in the comment section. Moving on to the second topic of today's video, are we going to get a September Nintendo Direct? Actually, you know what, it's funny, I actually had this one paragraph in this script right now that talks about Pokemon Legends and how we haven't seen anything on that game, and this was before that Direct was announced by the Pokemon Company. So we could probably just throw this paragraph out and move on to the next one. Now, there are other games like Bayonetta 3, which they still need to talk about that game, along with some marketing for other Nintendo Switch games like Metroid Dread, Wario Switch It Up, and even Shin Megami Tensei 5. A lot of these games are coming out within the next couple months, and Nintendo is going to want to market those and promote those leading up to those releases, especially considering the holiday season will be rolling around the corner faster than you think. But that aside, there are other reasons why a Nintendo Direct would happen in September as well. So in a Nintendo leak by Samus Hunter that I covered in a separate video on the Robo Tron show, she said this about a Nintendo Direct. After teasing this in a couple of posts, I'm going to talk about it more clearly. Yes, there is a Nintendo Direct scheduled for September, around the time WarioWare launches. It is useless to make a list of games, passing them off as certain because... And then she continues on with a lot of other stuff. Now, I do have a full video on that Nintendo leak. If you want to watch it, you can click the top right corner of this video. Now, Samus Hunter saying there is a Nintendo Direct happening in September really doesn't mean too much when you think about it, because it could be wrong or it could be right. That is until that Indie World Nintendo Direct was announced, because she said this about the Indie Nintendo Direct before it was announced. In closing, however, I can tell you that Nintendo is also working on the next Indie World scheduled before that. And this is why I tend to cover Nintendo leaks and Nintendo rumors, because sometimes they do end up being right. Sometimes they are wrong, but sometimes they are right. Now, we just had a Indie Nintendo Direct, so it probably means that this Nintendo leak has a little bit more credibility than others, which could mean a September Nintendo Direct is just around the corner, or at the very least has a better chance of being right. And if we do get a Nintendo Direct, I really do hope we do see something on Bayonetta 3, because I would love to see something on that game. Anything, just even a CGI trailer that tells us a little bit about the story, something from this game. Fingers crossed, guys, fingers crossed. And moving on to the last topic of today, we have the Pokemon Nintendo Direct. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have been waiting for them to announce this for a while. Like, is it just me, or have they been really quiet for a tad too long? I don't know, maybe I'm just impatient? Tell me in the comment section below if you were thinking they were taking their sweet time with this or not. But being impatient aside, what will we see at this Pokemon Nintendo Direct? Well, the Nintendo Pokemon Twitter account gave us some interesting tidbits about what to expect from this Direct. According to the official Pokemon Twitter account, we will be seeing something on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, along with Pokemon Legends. I think that's as far as what we can expect from this Pokemon Direct. I don't think we should expect anything else, so our hopes don't get too high for anything else that we're looking for. This tweet clearly sets up the expectations for these games, and I think that's what we should expect, nothing else. Now, I do have to say Pokemon Legends is going to be an interesting one, because Pokemon Legends didn't look the best on the first reveal. I think they may have had an old build, and that's why it didn't look too good with rough animations, especially with that Chimchar. But other than that, I do want to see some exploration and some combat in the open world of Pokemon Legends. Right now, it's rumored that it's heavily inspired by Breath of the Wild, so it's going to be really interesting on how they incorporate these Breath of the Wild mechanics and exploration into the game. Also about that ATP gauge that was rumored a while back as well. I'm pretty curious on that too, if those are true. The Pokemon remakes, on the other hand, I think we can pretty much expect some comparisons to the older games, any cut content that they want to add back in. With remake, you're really just getting what you got from the other game, but in a different art style. So for those expecting a whole bunch of Pokemon in the game, I think we should lower our expectations for now until that Direct. I think we should lower our expectations and just expect the original Pokemon from the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl in this remake. Overall, guys, I think the Indie Nintendo Direct was a fantastic Indie Nintendo Direct, and I do hope we get that September Nintendo Direct, because I do want to see some things on games like Metroid Prime. I don't know why I said Metroid Prime, I meant Metroid Dread, and Bayonetta 3, and all the good games that are coming up for the Nintendo Switch. And of course, I'm happy that we're getting a Pokemon Direct as well, because I do want to see how Pokemon Legends looks and plays, and if they improved on the open world. But it is Game Freak, so I guess we'll see. But those are just my thoughts. Make sure you guys tell me yours in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more gaming news. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.